Hello, everyone. So we are live again for yet another author live chat with fans series, Sunday series, real life inspiring stories. 21st November 2021, 8 p.m. CST, and we are live on Facebook page with author Amy T. Jarrett. Now, today we're going to talk about yet another interesting topic. I think we have covered a little bit about this topic a couple of times in the recent months before this, and I think we will also be talking about the similar aspects of it, but I think from another person's point of view, another person's experience. So this is going to be sort of like an enhancement to the topic that we have discussed earlier about a couple of times at least in the near past. And so today's topic is about attracting love now and how to manifest your desires to find soulmate love. Now, author Amy T. Jarrett, a little bit about her. So ever since she spotted Pickles and had a huge crush on Bobby Brady, Amy T. has been turning her romantic daydreams into stories. Writer is an official job title, but Amy considers herself a semi-professional fangirl due to her obsession with the television show Supernatural. Her other abilities include ninja reading skills and the ability to constantly learn. She lives with her husband and dog in Dallas, Texas, and she would love to hear from you at amytjarrett@gmail.com or on her Facebook page, facebook.com/amytwriter. So, without further ado, let's welcome author Amy T to the show.
Good evening. Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
Amy. Hello.
Or it's evening here in Texas.
Yes, a very good evening to you, Amy. I hope that you are having a fantastic weekend over your end. And thank you for actually joining me on a very short notice. It's such a pleasure to have you
Oh,
here
thank you. My pleasure.
and to talk to you face to face over here. It's my pleasure to connect with you here. And I have read your book. As I have read your book. It's a short, but I think a very informative book. You have covered pretty much a lot of things in that book, especially for those who are wanting to manifest something or someone in specific. So, and before we discuss about that, before we deep dive into your book, Amy, could you actually briefly introduce yourself? I know that I've introduced a little bit about yourself, but I think it'd be good to have you say a few things about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Desvina. Yes, I spent the last 15 years as an English teacher and also history. And I decided to pursue writing full time. Like a lot of people, 2020 was a year of change for me. And so it was actually 2021 when I finally stopped. And I am, like you said, my introduction, obsessed with books and supernatural and all kinds of fun things. And I am a proud mom of two grown sons that I no longer live with. They have one is completely on his own, and my younger son, who has special needs, lives with his dad. And so I live here with my husband Mike and my dog Charlie, who is named after a character in Supernatural, Felicia Day's character.
All right, that's awesome. I mean, you have mentioned that you love reading and you love romance and you love anything that has got to do with romance books. So, how did you? I mean, growing up reading these romance novels,
Mm-hmm.
did you have back then? Did you have aspirations like this is the qualities of your future husband? Or did you? I believe that being a
Yes.
fangirl, you definitely would have all that right. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I used to steal my mother's Harlequin romance novels when I was far too young to be reading them. And I loved Cinderella, was the first book I ever read. And so I was very convinced that once I got married, then everything in my life would be perfect. And so anybody who has been married knows that's not true. That it is wonderful, but it's not the cure-all. And so I got married very young at 23 and was married for 18 years and did not work out. So as I talk about in the book. And so I spent the majority of my 40s being single as a single mom. So that was, but I kept those romantic dreams alive, and a lot of them were due to my attachment style. I talk about that in the book about that I have anxious attachment style, which is something that I have learned to overcome and to be more secure. But it was really life-changing for me when I read Amir Levine's book, Attached, and found out that I wasn't broken or weird, or I wasn't the only person who obsessed about my romantic relationships and my attachments and had these kind of behaviors, that about 25% of the world behaves the same way. And it's a biological thing, a biological, psychological adaptation.
Exactly. I mean, I think this is where the cliche lies, because we all want to feel secure. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel wanted in relationships, and yet we have to feel secure, on our own. So I think that's a little bit of a balance over there, and I think that's where we all struggle. Could you tell us a little bit about that? I think a lot of people used to think that it is we are dysfunctional. There's just something wrong with us when we have this emotional attachment towards someone. We beat ourselves up and we think that this something is just not right with us. We want it, but we resist it, and we just go about in that spiral for a very long time before we even realize that it's not our mistake. So tell us about that psychology part of it, of human.
Sure. So there are three major types of romantic attachment styles, and this is based on work about how people attach to their mother or father when they are young. That's where these theories and techniques came out of. And basically you have 50% of the population is secure attachment style, which my husband is, and it's just wonderful. These are people who believe they're worthy of love. They typically form partnerships easily, and sometimes people break up with them, sometimes they break up with people, and it's just usually a normal, healthy relationship. The other 50% of the population, half is anxiously attached, and half is what we call the avoidant style. Now, avoidants are people who these are the people who cherish their independence, who worry about feeling stifled in a relationship, that their partners are going to be too clingy or hold on to them too tightly. And so in our American society definitely favors that type of attitude, that you should be independent and not need anyone else. But avoidant people really want love too. And they keep thinking that if they could just find the perfect person, then they wouldn't feel that way. Then they wouldn't feel that need to run away when people started to get close to them. And so they do best with securely attached people as well. Anxiously attached people, whom they are paradoxically attractive to avoidant people. Anxious people cling to their romantic relationships. They're the type of people who worry if their partner calls them 10 minutes late or the text doesn't come in on time. They're always afraid of losing their partner. They don't feel deep down that they are worthy of their partner. They think they're so lucky to have gotten someone in the first place. And these are biological attachment styles. Like we're a very tribal, communal species. And it used to be that if you were rejected by the people around you, you wouldn't survive. And so that panic, that terror that anxious attached people can feel is rooted in a biological adaptation. And so it's really, really, yeah, if anybody is thinking that I'm describing them, I would just urge them to read Amir Levine's book, Attached, as well as mine. Because it was such a relief, to know that I'm not crazy and that this was a manageable thing.
Yeah. Exactly. I think this is also due to, unfortunately, when we bump into people who behave like, manipulative people, or people who just, whose intention is there to stick with you just for a fleeting moment of time, and they just shift their focus out of you, and they just move on without even giving you hints that they intend to move on, and you're still stuck there, right? So I think that's where we tend to look at all these behaviors and think that, hey, they've done this, they've done that in the past. Hey, I think I can fix that. So these two characters who, one person who thinks that they can fix things, and another person who keeps going after one person and another person. Do you think that it's one is anxiously attached and another one has avoidant style of attachment?
Yes, it's actually called, the term for it is the anxious avoidant trap, because these two types are so attracted to each other. And once you become aware, because the anxious person believes that they're going to be rejected, so being with a partner who is frequently rejecting feels like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And similarly, the avoidant person, usually a secure attached person, would not put up with their behavior. They're not desperate, for want of a better word. So it really does take training yourself to understand that, okay, that's not the way I deserve to be treated. I'm going to seek out a more securely attached person, or I'm going to at least insist that my avoidant partner treat me better.
Right. So I think this is where, we coming back to the book and coming back to our angle moments, movies, romantic movies, and things like that.
Yes.
So if you were to be given a chance, to change your perspective towards marriage or towards what you would like to expect from a partner back then, what would be the things that you want to change, or maybe the influence from romance books? What would you like to tell to your younger self, to be wary of?
Oh, great question. Yes. To just love myself more. Because really, the answer to every problem is just love yourself, be gentle with yourself. And I would say, you deserve to go after the things that you want in life, and not. I've spent so much of my life laser focused on getting and maintaining a romantic relationship. And then when you finally have a secure marriage like I do, it's easy, and it's a launching pad for you to go off and do great things in your life, because you have a secure base to come home to. You have a supportive partner, someone who is just encouraging and loving, but doesn't ever try to change who you are or stifle what you're trying to do.
Right. So I also feel that, a lot of times, especially anxious people who go after this avoidant people, they feel that there's this drama and that there's this push and pull, kind of thing going on there that they are subconsciously attracted to, and they feel that that's what fueling their the drama. I think and when
yes.
right, and I feel that when you are finally with someone who's secure, it's going to be boring. It's going to be flat. Tell us. I mean, you have gone through all that phase, right? So tell us about the reality. Like, is it going to be boring? Is it going to be? I mean, because we all go. I mean, we look at romance movies. We read those books,
Hmm.
and we sort of like get attached or attracted towards the drama that is going on, and we subconsciously attract them in our lives as well. And when we finally see something that is secure, that's peaceful, that's just, there's no drama and it's
Hmm.
easy. We feel like, why is it so easy? And, it's just boring, right? So how do we rewire our brain,
Yes, that's a great question. And yeah, our society, I mean, I've written a romance novel as well. I do love romantic comedies and all of those, but it's not where we should be getting our relationship template from. And we are conditioned, a lot of us, to think that that drama, that intense emotion and passion, that is what love is. But to me, I mean, a specific example, like I said, my younger son has autism. And so he's 20, but mentally he's about 10. And he loves to go to the zoo. And I was a single mother from the age of 42 to 48 when I met my husband. And I would take him to the zoo by myself and I would do all these things. And it was really hard to manage him on my own. And I would dream of the day that I would have a partner whom I hoped would participate in family type activities. And March 2nd, 2019, we went to the zoo. Mike and my son and I did. And it was a cold day. It was a misty, kind of rainy day. So the zoo was not crowded. And it was just more than I had ever even dreamed. My husband is so loving and helpful and kind to my children, to both my children. And I just had the most fabulous day. And that night, we had just had a romantic dinner, and I was like, this is what love is. This is
Mhm.
that calm peace of support. And but it's a very intense emotion of just that searing love. And
Mhm.
it's good drama because there's no drama. But it's good intensity is a better way to say that.
Uh-huh. So I think it's just that we have not. Am I right to say that when people have not gone to that phase yet, people we do not tend to believe that we will be able to look at things from another perspective because you have not gone to that phase yet, so you do not know how it feels like yet, and
Hmm.
that's why we tend to go back to what we are familiar with.
Yeah, I would totally advise people to just, if it feels comfortable and you're having fun, because we have so much fun together too. We're very similar and we love to do all of the same kind of things. So if you ever catch
Mhm.
yourself going, shouldn't I have more passion? Uh, Maybe try to condition yourself to understand that real love does feel comfortable and supportive and emotionally stable. You know.
Mhm. Yes, I think a lot of times we tend to get trapped in that bubble because we do not aspire or we do not envision the future as much as we are comfortable with what we have right now or in the past. Because future is something that we cannot see, and I think that's where the affirmations and that's where your writing down the qualities of somebody that you want, and the kind of
Yes.
life that you want. And I think it's like a practice to remind yourself of what you want and say no to every other thing, right? Because in the past, I used to think that it's something that's very rigid, and maybe you are denying yourself an opportunity with someone else who do not fit that template, right? But tell us about being open versus being true to what we want.
Mm. You said being open versus being true to what we want. Yeah, it is
Yes.
like the list. Really, it is important to concentrate on how you want to feel in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the most important things on my list of 67, I couldn't quite get to 100, was that I wanted someone who was kind, someone who was patient, someone who didn't get angry easily, and all those sorts of things. But I do believe in the law of attraction. I think you can put anything on there that you want, down to, my husband's favorite color is blue. And I put that on there because I had read that people who like the color blue tend to be kind, and things like he wanted to wear lots of fandom t-shirts like I did, that he would understand my crazy t-shirt collection, and his is even larger than mine. And all of these things, specific things, are about the emotion, because it's a way of sharing something or feeling accepted. And so the things that I put down that didn't manifest, like having tattoos or green eyes, those were just preferences that I had at the time. But what I was really saying was I just wanted to be attracted to my partner, and I am, because he's very handsome. So.
Right. So I think that I love how you said that we have to focus on our emotions and feelings, like really how you want to feel with that person. Because I think emotions are essentially energy in motion. So you are giving a lot of energy when you are thinking about something over and over again. So that's where you are raising a vibration to match with that person, and
Exactly.
I think, right. I think that's the right way to put it. So now, coming to the part where we would have met a lot of people in the past, and we would have liked certain qualities, certain traits in each one of them. I mean, we got attracted to all these people because of something, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? And you may want that something to also exist in another person, but you want that the package to be a wholesome package this time around. So how do we just pick that little thing that we find, and especially Connor, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy that you mentioned. So I think people like this are difficult for us to move fast from, and because um, in the mind it says that hey, this is so nice, and why is it not happening? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you move fast from that person? I mean, knowing that it may not be the right match, despite knowing you are comfortable with them, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? Um, how do we, especially when you have not met, you do not have the opportunity to meet somebody else immediately right
Mm-hmm.
after that person. Every
Yeah.
day,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to be in that moment.
Yeah, I think I was lucky, as I talked about in the book, that Connor was the one who was like, no, we need to end this. You want a relationship that I'm not ready to give you right now. And so I was convinced at the time that, he was the one. And so I would say, if the person wants to leave, you should definitely just let them leave. If they are, because if they're a vibrational match for you, they're not going to be so desirous of going away. And it was frustrating at the time, but I like in the book, like I said in the book, I'm so thankful because he was about a 6, and my current husband is a 10. And I didn't even realize that there was someone so much better out there for me. And so you can take like every relationship, when you're making that list, I really do encourage you to think about what you did and did not like in the relationship. Like Raul, my first, and of course, all these names are changed. He was very smart, and he was a lot of fun, but those were the only qualities I ended up liking. He had a drinking problem and commitment problems, and wasn't actually that different from my ex-husband. So, I started, okay, I want somebody smart. Definitely put that in there. And I want somebody who's fun and who likes to go out to eat and travel the way I do. And then with Connor, there was more. He was also very smart and liked to go out to eat. And we had a lot of the same friends in common. but we didn't have the same fandoms in common. He didn't read the same sort of books. I mean, it just, and also, there were other mismatches, like he wasn't ready. He was not over his divorce yet, and it was too soon. So
Yes, exactly. I think you cannot make the other person see what you are seeing, right? I mean, if
mhm,
they're just not on the same page, then I think it's really difficult to convince someone to really be there to see what you are seeing, right? So I think
mhm,
coming to self-love,
mhm,
um, sometimes I do feel that self-love can be something that is overemphasized over and over again. We can love ourselves, like throughout probably 10 years, a decade, and then things like that, and still feel the need to be with somebody and not be alone. I think it's just very natural, no matter how much you feel love for yourself. It's just not as similar as it is towards loving something else, or probably somebody else, a pet, or anything, just about anything else. So I think it's all about sharing what we have in life, and that's where the fulfillment comes in. But so how do we balance both of this? Like I think those who tend to go into self love a bit too much will be having avoidant sort of attachment, because they just feel like it's enough. I'm enough,
mhm.
and I don't want something external. So how do we balance this?
Yes, that's a great question. Um, you just that chapter 11, live life now, really tried to get to that point where you are happy every day. I never stopped wanting a partner during my 2.5 year hiatus from dating, but I absolutely just stopped worrying about it all the time because I was just so obsessed with finding someone, and I just needed a break. I needed that respite. And so and I had heard much earlier in my singlehood that, oh, you'll find someone the minute you stop looking, or you have to be okay with being single forever to finally meet someone. And I just couldn't accept the idea at the time. And so it really did take that epiphany of going, wow, I was out with that nice guy whom I call Frank in the book because I honestly don't even remember the poor man's name. But he planned such two lovely dates. And I was just like, wow, I wish I was here with my friends. That's an important thing. When you're single, it's really important to have a supportive group of friends that you can do things with and spend time with, and go on these trips, and go out to eat, or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. And also something like massage. I get regular massages, and that helps with that need for human contact.
Mm,
So that's,
mm,
I remember a therapist years ago telling me that the technical term for wanting to be touched is called skin hunger, which is such a crazy, vivid, lurid term, but that's really what it's
mm,
called. So, getting hugs from your friends and having massages are good things to help combat that skin hunger, and just being kind to yourself, being nice to yourself, and it's okay to want. You should want a partner. I mean, everybody is happier when you do have a partner, but just try to balance that happy life now with that desire for the person to come at the perfect time.
I think you actually mentioned something really, really excellent over here. Skin hunger. I've not heard of this term yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I really, really think that you pointed out something really amazing over that, because we always want to connect with people. We always want to
Mm-hmm.
connect with people who are at least like-minded. And I think over here, it's the power of community. It's the power of
Mm-hmm.
those who love doing things that you love doing. And when you surround yourself with those who will be able to support you in that manner, I think you will feel complete. You will feel loved. You nevertheless, you will still feel loved,
Mhm.
and that is when we will avoid making mistakes in desperate situations because we are no longer desperate.
Yeah.
We do have a support system to rely back, to lie back on. So I think that's where we grow into becoming a secure person, as you
Mhm.
told. And going for massage and getting hugs from people, that's just so underrated. I mean, like you just gave
Mhm.
me an idea. Like, yeah, I mean, even massages, it's like it makes you feel good because you're coming
Mhm.
in contact with someone and somebody is making you feel good, and that's the key, right? So
Exactly.
I think it's an excellent point over here to point out that we should cherish those who are in our life or already
Mhm.
in our life, and we should surround ourselves with them and spend more time with them. But I do not, like you said, I think that we cannot deny the fact that it's not going to be 100%
Mhm.
similar to having a partner, but still, I think it makes up some portion of it, like the void, the void, self love plus with the community. I think it makes up to it, and definitely,
Mhm.
although you may not feel as complete or as fulfilled, when you're having a partner, but I think it just makes it, right? So I think that
Right.
was really an excellent point over there for us all to keep in mind.
Mhm.
And coming to being an independent person, I think those who are having anxious attachment style and those who are having the avoidance attachment style,
Mhm.
how do you think that the both of this, I mean, both these personalities can work on themselves
Mhm.
to finally feel secure, or and how the partners can also equally help each other to finally help them to have a secure attachment style.
Yes, like I said, definitely, especially if you think you have an insecure style, like anxious or avoidant. Um, avoidant, or sorry, anxious attachment style is also known as codependency. So, reading Amir
Mhm.
Levine's book, getting therapy for it, those are all great things to do. And also just take practical steps. Like I mentioned in the book, I kept a log of things to feel secure about. I would write down all the ways my husband came through for me when I started to feel anxious. And so that, and just being able to talk yourself down to go like, okay, I'm feeling panicked right now. And it's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's just my attachment style. I'm actually safe.
Mhm.
I'm well. I'm not in any danger. I can just choose to calm down and do some deep breathing. That, or emotional
Mhm.
freedom technique. That's another thing, that EFT tapping. Tapping on the energy
Mhm.
meridians. That's another technique that I've used to great success in the past. Whenever any kind of anxiety, you can use EFT to calm yourself down. That's a great technique for
Mhm.
dealing with anxiety.
Mhm. Yes, and this is going to be a question for people who are already in a relationship and finally seeing that relationship crumble, and those who want to exit the relationship or probably decide on leaving the relationship. I think it's going to be a very tough decision to make because
Hmm.
when you've been with someone for a long time, right? So
Right.
um, how do you gauge, like, when to end it and when to work more, like, trying to talk to the partner more and trying to make things work versus
Hmm.
just deciding that it's enough. Because I think those who have, I mean, I can imagine, like, you've lived with this person for so many years and you have gotten used to that person. So, shifting out of it is going to be like a hell of a challenge. It's
Yeah.
like changing part of your lifestyle, part of your lifestyle. So, what are the steps that can help people who are looking to gain their sense of self back? And what are the things that we can do, even when we
Mhm.
are in relationships, to really have that space for us to,
Mhm.
balance things out? Because we do not want to be sucked into another person's life and just be everything for them and just forget about us. So, yes.
Yeah, it's a great question. I can relate to that because this is like the first relationship where I've been 100% myself. I don't feel like I've lost any of who I am. So it's tough, but if you're in a relationship and you feel like you're losing yourself or like you're an anxious person involved with someone who's avoidant, I would just definitely get therapy, try to balance your own life. Whenever you start to feel any panic or you're like, okay, well, I can't go out on this night with my friends because what if my partner wants to do something with me and
Mhm.
they call me, just being being able to calm yourself down and to go, okay, I'm safe, I am well, I will be okay if I go ahead and do this thing, and just be
Mhm.
loving yourself and being gentle with yourself and recognizing that you're not defective, you're not broken, you just have a type of attachment, you have a biological adaptation. You wouldn't think you were a bad person because you have brown eyes or
Mhm. Mhm.
it's something, a way your biology and your nurture, the way you were
Mhm.
raised, um, caused you to react this way in certain situations. And you can, neuroplasticity, we really can change our behaviors. So it's
Mhm.
absolutely possible to learn to behave in a secure manner. And it's so much nicer and better for your life when you can.
Mhm.
It's so
Right.
nice to just not feel that panic anymore.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that we need to understand is that we also need to do for the other person is that to understand where they're coming from, the trauma, and what
Yes.
they've gone through. Because I think that opens up a whole lot of avenue to understand somebody better
Hmm.
and to help them become secure, to help them feel secure. I think these are the things that probably we get attracted to in person, like, maybe people like Connor, like you're just comfortable with, and you saw several things like that, and then but there are other defective things that the other things that are missing,
Yeah.
So when you see that for the first time and you feel like, oh my God, this really feels good, and you feel that, that's the one, and you just
Hmm.
go stick with that. But I think with the right person and with the kind of evolvement that we have gone through, we all evolve every day, every now and then. And as we evolve and we meet somebody else who has evolved on the same level, and I
Hmm.
think probably we don't have to really do the talkings, and we just we can gel well because the other person can really understand where you're coming from. So it wouldn't be necessary to do these elaborations of how
Hmm.
you would like to be treated and all that thing.
Right, right.
Is that right? Is that why it's easy? Is that why it's easy? You think?
Yes, yes, I think so because we're such my husband and I are such a vibrational match that it just doesn't come up anymore. I always feel secure. I never the anxiety just doesn't come up for me anymore, and and
Mm-hmm.
that's why it really is best to, if you can do it before you get involved in a relationship, to get therapy or read the book and start to learn these techniques and feel secure in yourself and love yourself before you meet someone, and then you can attract a secure partner, and so the issues just never really come up. So
Mhm. Right. And I particularly like the part where you mentioned that you fall back to Connor, and especially when you are having like this issues of meeting the wrong person, people
Hmm.
again and again, and when you fall back. How does it feel like, to fall back? Like, I know that this could be a trap that, for a lot of people out there, because
Hmm.
that's the comfort level and that's where. And how do you come out of that and knowing that, despite things going wrong, that's not the person and you just need to come out? How did you do that?
Oh yeah, that was a difficult time. That was the psycho guy. Oh my goodness, yeah. That was the catalyst for my hiatus from dating. But like I said, it was good because Connor was someone who understood that uh, he cared about me still, but things hadn't changed. He knew that I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for a forever relationship, and he was just not in that place. And so I was grateful at the time. And then we saw each other like one more time uh, about a month later after that. And, he was still just steadfast in that he wanted to date a lot of people. And so I was like, all right, I just have to let him go and do what he wants to do. And I'm so thankful that that was the case. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, but if he had wanted to get back with me, I probably would have. And, I would have missed
Mm-hmm.
out, but on my husband. So I'm very thankful that didn't happen. So if someone is like going back to an ex thinking, well, it wasn't perfect, but it was comfortable, just write your list and have higher expectations than that. And
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
I think I think we should choose to be treated well. We should choose to be treated well. We should choose to be wanted. We should set that expectations out there, like how this somebody should treat you, and because based on that, I think people will treat you. I think if you were to lower down your expectations and you just willing to be treated like a doormat, then I think that's where we all just get, turned over again and again for all the wrong reasons. So I think, your book has definitely touched on so many important aspects. It's 63 pages, just a very short book. I actually read it in a single sitting, and but I have to say that it has touched upon like so many important aspects of our lives. That the struggle that we have in manifesting something. So,
Mhm.
and I believe that these methods or these techniques can be used, not just for this particular purpose, but I think for so many other so many other aspects out there of life, like wanting a career, probably wanting a lifestyle that you want to have with somebody. So all these are still applicable, I think. And talking about your second book, I know that you are actually working on subsequent books, and tell us about that and what can we expect out of
Oh,
that book.
awesome. Thank you. Yes, yes. The techniques in the book, you can manifest anything. That's what I believe in. That you just, like, I've manifested jobs and money, and but manifesting my soulmate, that was the thing I wanted most in life. And that to date really still feels like my biggest manifestation. And right now I am working on another romance novel. It's called Relax into
Mhm.
Love. And it is
Mhm.
about a man who has a life changing experience. He has a heart attack very young, but he survives it. And he changes from being a corporate businessman into someone who is very much into the law of attraction, into reading tarot cards,
Mhm.
into meditation and yoga and manifestation. And he meets a woman who is like he was before his heart attack. She is very much a career woman, feels like she doesn't have time for a relationship. And so it's going to be fun to get to explore a lot of my spiritual beliefs, a lot of the woo-woo, for lack of a better word. I kind of like calling myself woo-woo. I think it's fun. So I will explore those woo-woo concepts. And I think it's going to be interesting to have it be the male character who is the woo-woo person in the relationship rather than the female. So that hopefully should be out next year by spring, for sure.
Awesome, right? And I think just like women. We both are talking from the speaking from the female's perspective, but I think even men have these expectations. And I think when we both meet, we also want to have somebody who has expectations just like us. We do not want somebody who's like, I used to say this on dating apps. It's like, especially when they describe about what they're looking for. They're looking for like something casual. They're looking for a relationship. They just list down friendship. They list down everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when they list down everything, I feel like they do not know what they want. They just over there not knowing what they're looking for. So in the past, I used to probably give a lot of chance to people who are like who have even listed down all of that things, thinking that I should just give a try, talk to them, right? But now I think being a little bit more selective of your energy and
Mm-hmm.
who you want to talk to and how long you want to waste time on somebody is really crucial because that
Yeah.
would save you a lot of heartache and all those things. Am I right to say that? Because in the beginning, when we are not so experienced, we used to think that we need to give people a chance, right? So, what's your take on this?
Yes, I definitely think so. That you want someone who's going to put as much effort into the relationship as you are, and yeah, I would not waste your time on people like going back to the guy whom I call Frank. There was nothing wrong with him on paper, but I was like, I'm wasting his time and mine because I'm just not attracted to him. I'm not interested in him. And so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with knowing exactly what you're looking for. And if this person isn't that, if they don't meet that criteria, then just because you're also helping them by deciding to move on because they're not the right one for you and you're letting them go so they can meet the person who is destined for them. Although I do think we have more than one soulmate. You can manifest your person whenever you are ready for them. That you
Yes,
can't miss your chance. Yeah.
Yes, I think we have at different point of time we have people who are like vibrational match to us, and I think that's how we meet the possibilities of meeting people who are on the vibrational matches, and then we evolve, right? So I think that's how you probably after your divorce, I think you met because you are on a better vibrational match and you met somebody who's better, and now you're in a better place.
Yes, it was
So
a progression up until Psycho Guy and then Mike.
Yes, I think, and I also think that when people do not evolve at the same rate, and one person is just evolving and another person is just stagnant, I think that's where the possibility of the relationship not going to be, surviving anymore is going to arise because it's just not working out anymore, and it has to adjust. So probably it's not so much of a bad thing because we cannot control what the other person wants in life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Am I right to say that?
Yes, because thoughts become things. We all control our own reality, and so you can't think for them, can't decide what they're going to do, although you can greatly influence people with your own thoughts. But yes, if someone like using Connor as an example, if someone is determined to move away from you, then let them go, because you cannot make someone stay with you. So
Exactly. I mean, I totally understand that. Because unless it's something that something that's independent. Like let's say you have different hobbies and you are pursuing something really different, and it is not impacting another person. As long as it's not impacting another person, I think that should be fine. But I think when it comes to probably a change in sexual preferences, or probably somebody realized that they want to just be in a polygamous relationship, and that's not something that the other person wanted in the beginning. I
Hmm.
think that's where it's just no longer something that's going to fulfill to both of them, right? Unless it's a consensual thing, then
Hmm.
it will probably still work out. But I think if it's not, then that's where our preferences in life, and when it changes, I think that's where the risk of losing that relationship also comes, right? And looking at your book, I can definitely see, how you have raised your vibrational match and you've become a better person. So that was really a very refreshing read. It was a pleasure to have a copy of your
Yeah.
book to read, and especially during at the right time of my the day I took off to just go and have a day off for myself. So thank you so much for that copy.
Thank
And
you.
what would you like to tell the audience out there, to those who are watching? I mean, I'll be uploading this on YouTube and also Instagram later on. So, what is the one message that you would like to tell people who are trying to, even those who are trying to, move on from a breakup, or probably trying to
Mhm.
enter a relationship, whatever stage they are in? What would you like to tell them?
Yes, I mean, the real reason I wrote the book was to be an inspiration, to give people hope, because I wrote the book that I wanted to read during that time in my 40s when I was single, that there's always hope. You can absolutely manifest a beautiful, perfect relationship, no matter how old you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what challenges you think you have in your life. It is possible for you to meet and marry, if that's what you want, your perfect person for you. And I just really hope that people love themselves and realize that if they desire that soulmate love, which I really do think everybody does, that it is perfectly within their grasp.
Awesome. Fantastic, Amy. I mean, it was really good talking to you finally. Thank you again, for joining my show on such a short notice. It's a pleasure talking to you on the book, and especially having read the book. I can actually relate to a lot of things in that book, and I hope that it reaches out to many more people out there, and I hope it is beneficial for them as well. So once again, this is the link to the book on Amazon. It's displayed on screen here, and this is how it looks like on Amazon. I'm flashing it out over here. Thank you so much, Amy,
Thank
and
you. It was such a pleasure.
I hope
Great to meet you.
thank you so much, and I hope that once you have your second book out, we will be able to get in touch again, and then we can meet in another show. So till then, I hope that you will have a fantastic week celebrations ahead, Christmas celebration, and
Yes,
the
yes.
rest of the
Thank you.
year. And
Mhm.
stay safe until we meet again. Stay safe, and thank you so much, Amy. Looking forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you. Yes, you as well.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Amy. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.